Doug Plagens, radio voice for the Florida Panthers on 560 WQAM. All-Star break is underway. We know Sam Reinhart and Sergei Bobrovsky will represent the Panthers in Toronto. Plagens, the Panthers, we talked about it today. They head into All-Star weekend. They got a 4-game winning streak going. They've looked pretty damn good this season so far. I would imagine everyone around the organization feels pretty good right now, no?
Everybody feels good, no doubt about that. And thank you for having me. I should mention I've been in communication with Rocky the cat, and he's not willing to let this go from the other night about the unfulfilled promise and your failure to get him a cat toy. His words, not mine. He said that a lot of people have cats. I'm just not buying the fact that there weren't any other cat toys available. So he's having a hard time with it.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you have pets, Plagens? You don't strike me as the kind of person that would have a pet.
He's a grown-up.
I personally don't. Grew up with dogs, though. I'm a dog guy. I've had dogs in my life since I was a young child, but I personally don't. What with the travel schedule and all would make it tough.
But if you promised your dog a toy and you didn't come home with one, you'd feel bad and you'd talk to him about it, no?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look myself in the mirror and know that I failed to deliver, Yeah. And so that's but he did say, again, his words, not mine. He said, I'm hoping we can make this situation right pretty soon. So he's willing to compromise and sort things out.
Doesn't speak English, Doug. They don't speak English. They don't know what's going on.
I did say to him, though, listen, it could be worse. You could be an unhoused cat. And then,
And
anyway.
he is understanding of that.
Anyway.
And all the different variations of the terminology that are taking place today, too.
Yeah, it's tough to keep track, man. It's tough to keep track. No, talk about the Panthers a little bit, because they've got it. The organization has to feel really good.
Yeah, everybody's feeling good right now. And I think you look at it top to bottom right now, this is a team that, first of all, looking at it from the widest scope, Bill Zito has assembled just a great roster. I think in a salary cap era, it's very difficult to, assembling rosters in the NHL, the salary cap, it's not easy. And Bill Zito has built, I think, if you're looking at all the rosters in the Eastern Conference, I don't think there's a roster in the Eastern Conference that has, that is as free of flaws and that everybody else has holes. This Panthers roster just doesn't. And I think if you compare it to the rest of the conference, Bill Zito's built the best roster in this conference. And I know they don't have the best record in the Atlantic Division right now, but they're putting a lot of pressure on the Boston Bruins. And they're on a 4-game win streak going into the break. And that's going to be a heck of a race moving forward. And you look at all the ways that different guys are contributing, from what Sam Reinhart and Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov, those guys have been able to do. The goaltending's been great, whether it's been Bobrovsky or Stolarz. Defensively, the Panthers are among the best teams in the National Hockey League, so they're defending well as a team, and it's all adding up to a great record right now here at the All-Star break. So you look at all of it, the Panthers have had a great pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule. And I think the other thing to look at, and we've talked about it on this show, but you can't understate the fact that the Panthers have had such a road-heavy schedule. And I'm not just talking about the quantity, the fact that they've played 26 road games this season, but it's the mileage they've covered. This team only has one game left outside the Eastern time zone, so they've logged a lot of miles. They've had a grind of a road schedule, and to come out of this portion of the season with the record they have, they are positioning themselves really nicely to, in my mind, at minimum, and knock on wood, hopefully everybody stays healthy, things like that, but they position themselves to, in my mind, at least maintain the spot they're at, and down the stretch, put some more pressure on the Boston Bruins, because I believe Boston still has to make a trip out west, and those can be tough late in the season, especially when the points become magnified and everybody is fatigued at that point in time. The Panthers are in a great spot for a number of reasons.
And Doug, the 4-game winning streak is there, and like you're saying, they're one of the best teams in the league, points-wise, record-wise, and all that. But also, they had a 4-game losing streak before that. What changes? Like, what does the best Panthers hockey look like? Like, when they start winning, how is that different than when they do lose games?
Well, first of all, those 4 games, they were close. They didn't hate the way they played or anything like that during that stretch. They came out on the short end of a couple of some tight games. They picked up a couple of points still in that little blip in the schedule. And that's the other thing. The Panthers have gotten themselves to a point with the record that they have where if they do lose in overtime one night, if they do lose in a shootout one night, they can look at it and say, you know what, we'll take the point, we'll move forward. You learn from that, whatever happened that night, because they've got a good record. And as long as you're getting points, you're going to be able to maintain your standing. But I think you look at this Panthers team and what does a good game look like? It might sound cliche, but they're getting scoring chances. The special teams, both end of it's been really good. They're defending well. And when Sergei Bobrovsky or Anthony Stolarz are called on to make a big save, they're coming through and making that big save. And, they're also minimizing the number of high danger scoring chances against, but they're getting the great goaltending so that, maybe the 3-4 times a game when one of those high danger scoring chances happens against you, goaltender's ready for it and they're getting the big saves. So right now, like I said, everything's clicked. Every part of the game is going well. You can't really point to a part of the Panthers game that is really lacking at this point. And it's just a great spot to be in through 49 games.
Yeah, there's nothing like during this week that's going to keep Paul Maurice up thinking about the second half of the season. Because I was thinking about that. Like, everything's kind of clicking. You're getting an incredible season out of Sam Reinhart, but you're kind of playing the exact style of hockey that you wanted to. Like, what is like Paul Maurice, and then like you mentioned, it's not like you have this massive West Coast road trip coming up in the second half that you got to get prepared for. Like, there's not much worrying him, I imagine.
Huck, I remember it used to be the special teams. It used to be the power play and the power kill. For the last couple of years, we always talked about that.
And they're both, the power play and the penalty kill are both in the top 10 and have been in the top 10 to 12 in the league for a big chunk of the season. And that's going to get the job done night to night. And they've proven lately those two parts of the game have only gotten stronger with time as the season's gone along. There isn't really, like I said, it's I can't tell everybody enough because obviously pro sports, it's, a lot can happen, but for everybody out there following this team, if you haven't watched them this season, make sure you join in after the All-Star break, because that's the other thing with this team, guys. Everything they do, they're playing a solid brand of hockey every night. They're in the game every single night. They have a chance to win every single night. They're a contender. They're in the group of teams. We were talking about this on our team podcast earlier today. I'm not sure I would call one or two teams the heavyweight in the NHL. I think you've got a cluster of about 6 to 8 teams that I would say are the top tier, and the Panthers are firmly in that class of teams in the National Hockey League. I think they're a team that has, again, if they keep playing the way that they've been playing, and that's the big thing too, they saw the positive results last year. They saw what it took to win, and they've seen the positive results again this year. They know what they have to do. It's a group of professionals. It's a group with great leadership from the coaches to the players on the ice. They've seen the positive results and what it takes. They know what to do night to night to keep it going. And if you're somebody who's been following this team for a long time, just enjoy it right now, because not only is this a good hockey team, and this is kind of what I was starting to say, but everything they do, the way they play the game, everything they do is entertaining. Every one of these games, whether it be for one reason or another, this Panthers team is just entertaining to watch. And I can't state that enough either. They have interesting players. The games have subplots at times, and they're just a really good team. So, again, everybody should enjoy it. If you haven't watched them, you should. And like I said, everything they do, it's just a little bit more entertaining than when the other teams do it.
Plagens, are we in the middle of the greatest era of Florida Panthers hockey ever?
Well, if you look at the 4 straight playoff appearances, which is going to be added to this season, and what they accomplished last season, I don't see any reason to think that it's not. Plus, you have superstars who are signed long-term, and you have guys that, again, whether it be the superstars up and down the lineup, you have guys that are fan favorites, guys that people just enjoy watching. It's a special group, and it's really been great to watch how they've evolved over the last couple of years, to see Paul Maurice put his stamp on the group. And like I said, none of it's possible without the work that Bill Zito and his staff have done assembling what I think is the best roster in the Eastern Conference. So again, it's just been a heck of a job. Credit to everybody involved. But yeah, no reason to think that this isn't the best era of Panthers hockey that there's been.
Are you headed up to Toronto for All-Star festivities, or did you get your fair share when it was here last year?
I am not making the trip to Toronto for the All-Star break. I am going to catch this chance to just take a breath and get a little relaxation, catch up on a lot of the things that maybe I don't have a chance to get done, a lot of the work that needs to be done, and just getting things done that I can't do when we're playing games every other night. So again, just catching up on a few things, getting a chance to relax a little bit, and then enjoying the time, because Panthers are back at home and on February 6th, the first game out of the break. And I should mention to everybody out there too, seven home games, 11 games total, but 7 home games for the Panthers in the month of February, beginning on the 6th. So a lot of chances to come out and see these guys play.
We'll be out there a week from Thursday. I'm just trying to think if there's anything coming up. Are you going to, yeah, we'll be there for the Caps game. Are you going to watch something on Netflix? Like, you say you're going to catch up on something. Like, is there a show or something that you want to binge?
No, I'm not a big TV show watcher. Sometimes I'll get into that. I don't really do much TV show watching. I'll watch sports. I'll watch wrestling. That's usually what I do. I've managed to avoid the Royal Rumble from Saturday till now because I have it. I got to go back and watch it. We played a hockey game, obviously, so I didn't get a chance to watch that. So I still need to go and catch up on the
King Kong Bundy won. I hate to spoil it. It was King Kong Bundy.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that you're making that up. I talked to Rocky the cat. He told me, but
Big John Stud, King Kong Bundy,
Jake the Snake Plumber,
winner take all. Jake the Snake Roberts. What did you say?
Jake the Snake Plumber though I really liked watching him play.
You said Jake the Snake Plumber. Did you say Palmer? Were you thinking of Jake Plummer?
I was thinking of Jake Plummer. Yeah, I thought that was his name.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite players.
Was a wrestler.
Jake the Snake Roberts was a wrestler, yes.
Oh, okay. You know what? I got Doug, because I thought of this because Hawk, you asked him about his downtime. We always talk to him about like places to eat, other cities, and where you go other cities. What about when you come home to Miami, like that place you have to go to if you have 2-3 nights off? I gotta go eat here.
Oh, Panera.
Panda Express.
I almost went to Panda Express in New York City the other day, but didn't.
Plagens loves Panda Express, man.
I mean, you're in New York City. There's a great Chinatown. You're going to go to Panda Express?
I like Panda Express, but I didn't go there. I didn't go there, but I'm not going to name names. I went and had a pastrami sandwich because I love pastrami sandwiches. And in New York, I felt like that was the more appropriate thing to go and do. Well, I didn't have time for that, but I went to a place. It was a place that had been around for a long time. I had never heard of it, but it had been around for a long time, and that was the featured item on the menu. Incredibly mediocre, and I probably should have gone to Panda Express. It was a strikeout, but you can't win them all. You just like the Lions yesterday. You can't win them all.
Yeah,
so
that must have bummed you out. You're a Lions fan, right?
I am. It was great to see them get back to relevance, and they're going to be good for a long time. I know a lot of people are piling on Dan Campbell about the fourth down decisions. I would have done the same thing. And maybe on the second one in the second half, I would have kicked the field goal. But the first one, that catch has got to be made. That's how they played it all season long. You can't take a team's identity away from them when you get to a big game. That's what Baltimore did. They stopped running the ball, and look what happened to them. So if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm doing the same thing. And nobody's talking about the fumble, the punt that should have been down at the 1 yard line that wasn't, that turned into a touchback. There should have been sack that turned into that great catch that Kyle Juszczyk made along the sidelines. If those things happen, and the wild bounce, of course, you can't predict that. But if those other things had happened, they probably would have won the football game. You can't pin it all just on the fourth down decisions, especially since they do that more than anybody, and that's their DNA. But getting away from that, yeah. Pardon me?
Nothing. I was just teasing.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that. Anyway,
I have a thing now where anybody mentions anybody's name, I just say the guy stinks. I like Dan Campbell, although I thought both those fourth downs he should have kicked. I understand that's the identity of the team. That's what got him there. But you end up costing your team. And I'm with you. The punt return needs to be downed at the 1 inch line. Like there's a lot of things. But you're the head coach. You have a couple decisions that may have cost your team a trip to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the first one was a drop that's got to be had. The second one, maybe I would have kicked that one, but I have no issue with the call to go for it. Like I said, I think it's fourth down is one of those things too. It's a lot of people like to go for it on fourth down, but it gets second guessed a lot. You open yourself up to that. Dan Campbell said as much, but yeah, I have no issue with it. They lost the football game. San Francisco's a good team. It's going to be an interesting Super Bowl. I don't really have a dog in the fight, so I'm just hoping I see a good game when that game is played. But as for restaurants in South Florida that I absolutely have to go to, like absolutely can't miss while I'm home, I got to go. I don't really have one, I don't think.
Damn, do you? I was gonna say I've told the story. I ate the horse when I was in London, and then recently I didn't even tell Hawkins Solana this. The night that I was in Dallas on Friday night, I didn't go to Papa Do's because my boy Vic talked me into going into some high class ass place called the Monarch, which is on like the 60th floor, but they were serving antelope. So I had 3 antelope chops. Do you do that? Will you try something exotic?
Depending on what it is. What would you compare antelope to? I'm not sure I would have done that.
Lamb, pretty much. It tastes just like lamb, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a big lamb guy. I don't mind like a gyro, but I'm not a big lamb guy like lamb chops. So I probably wouldn't.
Sizzly. You ever had the sizzly at Wawa?
That's not lamb.
No, I have not. Well, I also need to find, what was the shawarma place? I got to find the shawarma place you talked about, Hawk, that's down here in South Florida. I got to go find that.
Olive You. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I got to go there. I got to Greek places, Mediterranean, the shawarma places. That's my favorite stuff. So that's what I got to go find.
Yeah, that sounds authentic for sure. Olive You.
What? It's olive. Olive You. Olives are Mediterranean.
Doug, if you want real authentic shawarma or Middle Eastern Greek places, I'll send them to you. Not wherever Hawk's going. I'll love you. That doesn't sound authentic at all.
Oh,
Sounds
we could go there, and then we could go there, and then we could go and show you. We can show you Sawgrass Mills, Solana, while we're at it.
I mean, the guy goes to a Chicago deep dish pizza place called Manhattan Deep Dish Chicago Kendall Pizza. He's going to take issue with Olive You, a small little business trying to Florida. How dare you? Why don't you go back to Mac and Chess, that loser place with your loser friend? And take Samantha Rivera with you. We're off the rails today, Plagens. We're off the rails. All right, we'll see you, Doug.
Are we going to talk about corn chips? You were talking about corn chips.
I was supposed to go to commercial break 7 minutes ago.
Well, I'm a big Frito guy. Tune in for more next time I'm on the show. We'll talk Fritos.
Loves Dono and Frito. I remember that from the 790 days.